Hi again to everyone who's here today. Welcome to the final session of our online student readiness series. I'm so glad you're able to join us today, and I see we've got a really good group. Before we officially begin, I want to make you aware that this session is being recorded and will be distributed to students who are unable to attend. You have the option to leave the meeting at any time. My name is Sam, and I'm a success coach for online students with SUNY. I primarily work with psychology and management students at Empire State College. I'm really looking forward to learning about each of you during today's session. I'm also joined by a few of my colleagues who will be monitoring the chat area throughout the session. Success coaches Amy Betty, Maureen Kinney, and Lynn Ann Hines McCoy will be managing the chat to share helpful information while answering any of the questions that you type. And Denise Gagnon will be presenting a walkthrough of our new online course system. We'll try to save some time at the end for questions as well, but most of them will be answered during the presentation through the chat. Now, before we move on, is anyone having trouble locating the chat button in Zoom? There will be a lot of helpful information right there. Looks like we're all good. Well, I'm really glad to see such a great variety of attendees. Whether you're currently working through an application to a SUNY school, or if you've already been admitted, I'm really glad you're here. By attending this workshop, you've already really taken the first step toward a successful first semester. To get started, let's take a look at our agenda for this session. Today, we're going to talk about how to access your online courses throughout your time with SUNY Online. After going over important aspects of the online course experience, we'll discuss some of the ways that you can ensure your academic success. Before we really kick off, I'd love to learn a little bit more about your experience so far with online learning. Some of you have taken several courses online already. Some of you may have tried out an online or a hybrid course or two, and many of you may have never accessed a course online before. So you should now see a poll on the screen in front of you. Go ahead and answer the first and then the second questions. There's no right answer, so just go ahead and answer what fits you best. Seeing a lot of answers fly in, and I'll leave it open for like another five or 10 seconds or so to make sure you're able to get your answers in. Awesome, you're a fun group. We're at 79% participation in this poll.
I can't figure out the polling. It actually didn't pop up on my screen.
I wonder where it's hiding. Well, either way, I'll go ahead and read some of the results in a second. Just asking about
what's your experience. You might have pop-up blocker on. Make sure your pop-up blocker's off.
Oh no, yeah, I'm on my phone. That ain't happening. I'm at work right now. my bad, guys. Sorry.
No worries. Well, thanks everyone for participating. Let's take a look at those results. It looks here that some of you have quite a bit of experience with online learning, and for many of you, this will be your very first time. You might even be wondering, what is a learning management system, and what do these strange words have anything to do with school? That brings us to our next slide. As an online student with SUNY, you'll be using a system called Brightspace for your virtual classroom experience. If you're accepted and you've registered for your classes, you'll gain access to Brightspace about a week before classes start. In Brightspace, you'll find class information, course content, assignments, discussion boards, chat rooms, and more. Let's review some basics just to get you started. So many of you will have access to a formal orientation to Brightspace through your campus. If you're unsure of how to access that orientation or would like a little bit more guidance following this workshop, please contact your success coach. In today's session, we'll specifically touch on how to get logged into Brightspace, how to get around your courses, and we'll also share some helpful features within Brightspace that can make your online experience a bit easier. Your campus will inform you how to actually access Brightspace. You can expect to receive a direct link, or you might even see a specific button in your campus portal. In general, though, you'll log into Brightspace using your campus username and password on your school's login screen. You'll first have an opportunity to check out your courses during preview week, which is the week before classes officially start. Preview week gives you the opportunity to take an early look at the syllabus, assignments, and discussion boards so you can start to add due dates to your calendar and stay on top of the work throughout the semester. In some instances, you can even get a head start on your readings or assignments, which is something I really love to do. So each term, plan to sign into Brightspace at least 3 times a week to avoid falling behind. Keep an eye on those due dates. They can catch up to you. You might have assignments, discussions, and readings to complete every single week, and logging in regularly is a really great way to stay on top of them. Personally, I prefer to log in on a daily basis just to check in for any important updates and information and to make sure I'm not missing any deadlines or requirements. On top of that, regularly logging in can also help you stay engaged. I want to call your attention to the quote and statistic on the screen. The Office of Decision Support at SUNY Empire State College analyzed data from undergraduate online courses in 2015. They found that the data indicated that students who participated consistently through the first month of their online course were 6 times more likely to earn a passing grade than students who did not engage consistently during the first month. What counts as engagement? Logging into your course, making discussion posts, and submitting work on time. Once you've logged into Brightspace, you'll see a homepage that displays all of your active online courses. The image on your screen right now is an example of a Brightspace homepage, but yours might look a little bit different based on your campus. Expect to see different colors, different wording, or even a slightly different display of the key features. This applies to inside your course as well. So it's a good idea to click into the different menu and navigation options in each course to make sure you feel comfortable. The homepage on your screen right now also shows a helpful calendar of upcoming important dates and deadlines, as well as announcements posted by your professors or your campus. The upcoming events section in the calendar function can be really helpful for tracking deadlines, but just keep in mind that some instructors might not list every single deadline here. You'll really want to look in your specific course to be certain of your assignments and your due dates. To enter that virtual classroom, click on the title of the course on your Brightspace homepage. If the semester begins and you don't see a course that you expect to see listed here, check in with your coach just to make sure that everything's all set. It could be that your course starts a little bit later, or you could be missing the course altogether. So now that we've technically entered the virtual classroom, I'm going to hand it over to Denise to introduce herself and show us some key features of navigating your course.
Thanks, Sam. Hi, everyone. My name is Denise Gagno. I currently work with healthcare management and individual study students, and I also do regular work with online graduate students here at SUNY. So I am going to be walking you through the Brightspace learning environment today, so we can all get comfortable in navigating some of the basics of an online course. You're going to have questions as we're going through this. Please do feel free to type questions in the chat. Hopefully we will answer them as we're going through, but we'll also try to leave some time at the end to go through some of them. And also, anything we don't get answered today, please do reach out to your coach for additional information. So as Sam mentioned, we'll kind of take a look. I'm kind of logged in as a student here on Brightspace. into a course here, you can see one of the things that will be common no matter what your campus is. And again, it will look a little different, maybe different colors. There may be different wording slightly up here, maybe arranged a little differently, and same with the screen, but kind of we're just looking at sort of the basics here. So there will be this kind of course, grade bar or, mini bar that they call at the top. And then, within the course itself, I can see here, and again, this may vary, but for this course specifically, they've got different modules kind of laid out in a grid here. You can see for this course, as I scroll down, I see, a calendar here that's been laid out. Also something to note here, announcements. Instructors will often post announcements that will vary based on your instructor or your course. It could be, updates to due dates, say there was a technical issue in their course and they need to kind of update, they may put an announcement here, or, they want to give you some additional feedback generally about, an upcoming assignment or a previous assignment. It could be a whole host of different things. So definitely a good place to kind of keep an eye out in your courses is the announcement section. And then scrolling down here, there might be a section about your instructor, maybe like a bio here about who they are. There could be a section about, that kind of lists all the different, assignments that you may need to complete, kind of an activity feed, things like that. So those are some different sections that you may find in any particular configuration in your Brightspace environment for your course. So I'm going to go ahead and, sort of dive in here. I know some of you have been, taken an online course before. Some of you haven't been online, and have only ever done a course with, pen and paper. So lots of, variation here. So we'll kind of start at the beginning. So a lot of students kind of ask me, what do you do on the first day of class, or even better during preview week, that week before classes start that Sam mentioned earlier? Where do I go? How do I start? What do I actually do in an online class? So we typically say, start here, locate the course information. So in some courses, there may be a section that says start here, like there is for this course. So we'll take a look at that. If there's not a section that says start here, we always recommend looking for a syllabus. So we'll get to that in a second. So I'll kind of click the start here button so you can sort of take a look here. Again, there's another start here button. I'm going to click into that because I'm doing what it's telling me to do. So here it looks like here's a nice welcome here, some information. It kind of tells me what to do to get started here, which it's telling me to click on my instructor on the course menu, review this, and so forth. I wanted to call your attention to a few different things to kind of bear in mind. I can navigate through the course using these arrow buttons down at the bottom. I can also, if I want, download some of the content here using this, this button. Looks like a cloud with an arrow pointing down. There's also an alternative formats option that I'll kind of pull up here. Kind of an audio version, a Beeline reader for, kind of an on-screen reader, things like that. So definitely want to call your attention to that here. I'm going to kind of use these arrow buttons to kind of click through the module itself. Okay, so here we go. We're kind of clicking through here. That's one way. Okay, there we go. So again, it's taking me through kind of the module itself, but I'm going to go back to the home page. So if you don't have a start here section in your course, which, that doesn't always necessarily come up, we usually have you look for a syllabus. That could be called in some courses, some campuses, a course information button. It could be called a learning contract. It could be any number of things. Here you can see it's going to be called a syllabus. So that's where, you would kind of click into it and sort of take a look. some things that might be involved in a syllabus are things, or included in a syllabus may be things like course schedule, deadlines, assignment and grading rubrics. You can kind of see down here, those rubrics are actually set out separately from the syllabus. They could be involved in the syllabus, depending again on your course, instructor, and campus. They could be, course expectations, relevant policies. Something you'll definitely want to keep an eye out for are things like policies around late assignments. I believe for this course, you need to contact your instructor before the course ends, or before the assignment is due, for if you were looking for extensions or things like that. And there's also usually sometimes information about accessibility office if you need accommodations, things like that, different communication expectations. It may have your instructor's information, contact details, office hours. So really kind of, definitely take a look for those different information that will be involved in a syllabus. Really spend some time in here. You can refer back to the syllabus, anytime during the course. It's kind of, I also teach, I do teach online. And something that you'll see, you may have seen like on Twitter or something, is, professors at a college saying it's in the syllabus. That's where this is from. It's because everything is in the syllabus. So something that I wanted to kind of point out, I know Sam mentioned the calendar function, which I'm going to go back and sort of take a look at. So if your instructor has populated the deadlines of the assignments in the instruction, the discussion boards in the calendar, then those will populate the calendar. But say your instructor is someone who uploads like a second PDF document or something with the course dates, and that's it. And that's what they give you to the due dates for assignments and discussions or what have you. Then those will not populate into the calendar. So that's something to kind of be mindful of. That's something that's a really good time to, look at during preview week, or the first day. To kind of be mindful of some of those differences. So, and if you need some assistance, your success coach is there to help you kind of with strategies to kind of help keep track of your assignments and your due dates, things like that. So, contact your success coach, during, your campus's preview week, or, if you wanted some assistance with, taking a look at your classes and deadlines and so forth. So, really during that, that preview week, that first day of class, log into your courses, start clicking around, the different things, get comfortable with the environment, click on links, make sure that the textbooks, if they're involved, if they're kind of embedded within the course, that they open, if that's appropriate, and start getting familiar with navigating around. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead. We've done the start here. We've taken a look at the course information, which is where the syllabus is. Now we're going to take a look at accessing a module. So looking at a module, what is a module? What does that mean? Some of you seasoned, people with lots of online courses under your belt may already know, but for those who don't, a module is usually a term that's usually described an online lesson or unit. And it's usually, contain different content, activities, discussions, assignments within the course, and they're usually organized in kind of a clear learning path for students. As you could kind of see that grid layout, it's kind of, start here, course information, module 1, module 2, blah, 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 blah. So one thing to note about modules is that a module for your course, one module could, correlate to 1 week, 1 week module 1, next week module 2, but that's not the case for every course or every instructor. A module could be a month long. And maybe you only have 3 modules in your course. So again, something to be mindful of and to look at for preview week. So let's take a look at the first module. I'm going to go ahead and start here, module 1, sort of take a look in here. Great, so we see we've got, kind of learning outcomes, things like that. I'm gonna move this over here, so I can scroll through. Okay, so this is something here. This is, readings and resources. That's what this campus has chosen to call it. This is really, kind of the meat and potatoes of your kind of module 1. It's laid out here. This particular course has the textbook kind of embedded within it or kind of linked directly out. So I see some textbook readings. I see a video to watch. It looks like there's also some optional readings and resources here that, I may want to dive into. These might be helpful while I'm completing my assignments or, my discussion boards and so forth. So some students ask me, okay, what sections of the module do I focus on? There's a lot here. What should I kind of really concentrate on, for instance, as I'm taking my notes or highlighting or, whatever have you. So something that we kind of recommend is sort of taking a look at the assignments or discussions that are part of the module and kind of take a look at what topics are covered. So Brightspace is very kind of intuitive and user-friendly. It gives you a lot of different ways to access the same information. You could just keep using these arrows to click through if you want. I like this little arrow here at the top that it says if I hover over it, it says expand the side panel. I kind of pull that down and there are some helpful table of contents. So that's really going to be helpful, kind of easily do that, or you can use one of these bars at the top of the page. So that's what we're going to focus on next is we are going to jump into the assignments. So great. So assignments are going to be, different types of work that you will need to submit for your class. There's different ways of getting to them. Again, like I said, like we were looking at before, you can use that arrow button to get the table of contents. You can click through those, arrow buttons at the bottom to get to it. What's nice is if you click the assignments button up here, you can preview a list of the assignments you'll be submitting to your instructor. So you can see all the assignments here just to, take a look how many points there are. You can see the name of the assignment. You can see the completion status. It could say, here not submitted, submitted. I have looked at Brightspace itself has done YouTube videos, just of generic Brightspace learning environments. And I've seen when there's no submission, there's a 0. And I've seen when there's a submission, there's a 1. So it could look like that. Also, the kind of the score you achieve, feedback from your instructor, and then you can see here the due dates here. So we're going to go ahead and select an assignment. So let's just pop into this one. So the first thing that we always recommend is to review the instructions about the assignment very carefully. They also are called the assignment prompt. You may see that language also. Sometimes the instructions or assignment prompt will be all typed out as they are here. You can see, there's some useful background information and those directions here. Developing a 750-word essay, and then some additional information about how you need to do that and what you need to include or things to think about here. So sometimes if they aren't all typed out, there may be a document that you need to open and download. Sam, I don't know if you've had an experience with that before, if you wanted to share any of that.
With downloading the actual assignment.
Yes.
Yes.
I know you've had some students call you in a panic. It's not there.
Yeah, it can be kind of confusing. So sometimes you will have to download the assignment in order to complete your work. Type your answers in that document. Usually what I'll do is I'll save it to my computer, work within the document, and then make sure it's saved before I upload it back into the into Brightspace.
Great, thanks, Sam. So there's different options of this, what this may look like. So typically, make sure, like I mentioned, it's always important to review all the instructions very carefully. And then when it comes down, say you've completed the assignment offline, and so forth, you can then scroll down here and submit the assignment. There's some different options. You can kind of add a file here. You can, upload something from your computer. Maybe you have things in, Google Docs, or Google Sheets or so forth in your Google Drive. There's also options if it's appropriate for the assignment to record audio or record video, or you could also, if you need, recordings of audio or video, you may wish to do it, on your phone or something, and then upload it instead, rather than recording it right from here. So there's, options. Sometimes in the classes that I teach, I have folks that will do one way, record it and then upload, or record it right from here. So, and then at the bottom, make sure you do go ahead and click submit, so that you don't forget that. So it is submitted. I think that I can actually do it. This is a great essay. Now let's see if I'd have to upload a file, I think, but let me see if it will. Oh, I have to upload a file. We'll leave that for now. So then we typically, would recommend, if you wanted to go back into the assignment section, just to kind of double check and make sure. This should then probably say submitted here, to make sure that you've submitted something. If you've tried a couple times and you're not seeing it here, or, something seems to be going wrong, definitely maybe contact the help desk or contact your instructor, via email, and, say, I've been trying to do this. I don't see it. Do you see it on your end? Definitely, another way to kind of, cover yourself to make sure that the assignment is submitted. So, yeah, so, again, or you could go back to the, course homepage, or actually I believe you can use this content button also if you wanted to kind of go into each module. Here we go, module and reflection here. So if you just wanted to go to the content button and go right to the assignment, or look at it as a whole, that's another way. So again, Brightspace gives you multiple ways to access the same information. It just kind of depends on, how it works best for you. So definitely use that time to, before classes start or day one of classes, to get in here and start to get really familiar. So
Denise, I just wanted to
Yes.
hop in and reiterate that. If you can scroll up to the top just to show that blue bar again. I've seen a couple different courses and different campuses where all the words in the blue bar will look completely different. Instead of the word content, you might see course information. Instead of assignments, you might just see something like a general phrase. So to echo Denise's point, please go in as soon as you're able to and poke around in the class and in your courses to make sure that you're comfortable navigating. I kind of had mentioned that before, but just wanted to bring your attention to each campus will look a little bit different in that navigation pane.
Yes, great point, Sam. Thank you so much. So just want to take a second here and just stop for a second. If people have questions that are in the chat, I can't see the chat right now, but just wanted to, kind of dive in. Is there anything, Sam or Maureen, that you're seeing that is jumping out?
So far, we've been chatting with folks, but I did see one question about if you could just go back through how you got to the assignments. I know there were a couple of different ways to get to those assignments. So if you wouldn't mind just walking through them again.
Sure. Yeah. So one way, if you want to go quick and easy, is click that assignments button at the top. This is a good way to kind of see a list of all of them. And then I'm going to go ahead and click, the first one. That's one way. You could go into the content button. Again, like Sam said, it could look a little different for your campus. And then I'm going to go ahead, and I found it here, and I'm going to click on it again and go it here. I could go back into the table of contents, within the module itself. And so this is going to take me to the other. This is not module one. Oh, here we go. So I click this. This is the table of contents here on the left-hand page or side. And, again, it's going to bring me to the same place that we were before where it said content. So, or if you are in here and want to start here, again, pull out this sidebar and then there it is again. Or we can click on through using these arrows at the bottom or the top. I'll do top because I've been doing the bottom buttons. There's the discussion. I think that's another discussion. And then, so this is another way you can just kind of click through, and then here we go again. Here's the assignment again. So does that cover it, Sam?
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Oh, and do I see a hand up, Jennifer?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I'm not able to type in the chat for some reason.
Okay,
And
sure.
I had a question about the work that you're saving in Brightspace. Are you saying that it's not able to save your work in there? It's not like a cloud that saves your work. You have to use your own word processing program and then upload it to that program?
I believe so, yes, because, and I would double check with, your campus specifically, but I believe that this is just like a comments, like if you wanted to make a comment to your instructor, but yes,
okay.
yep. So that's why when I tried to submit, I didn't want to choose a file. I didn't want to monkey around in my drive,
Thank you.
but yes, pretty much you're going to be completing it elsewhere and then uploading it.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. So.
Denise, it's Amy.
Oh, hi, Amy.
Hi, I wanted to, someone asked a question and I wanted to make sure everyone heard it, and I'll type it in the chat, but the question is, when a course says it's using OER materials, does that mean I don't need to buy those books? And I just thought we should clarify that OER materials means open educational resources, and that in fact means that there's nothing to purchase. It means you will be provided either articles or PDFs or some materials in whatever form within your course page.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. That's great. Yes, a lot of this course uses OER. So yes, wonderful. Thank you, Amy. All right. Anything else I should cover before I jump into discussion boards? Or are we good? We always will have some time at the end too. So. Okay, great. So again, like I've said, lots of different ways to navigate to different places, same things with discussions. So I will, like I did for assignments, I'm going to go up to the course bar at the top and click discussions. If this course happens to have it, yours, it may be in some sort of drop down, it could be in here instead. Again, so something to poke around in. But for this example, I'm going to go ahead and click discussions. This is where you will see all the different discussions that are part of your course. So again, one of the ways, or again, you could use any of those other ways that I showed you of getting to the discussions, table of contents. You can just use that arrow, just keep clicking through your course if you want. That's okay too. So discussion boards, if they're part of your class, they often are. Your instructor will typically post some sort of prompt, and this is where you usually have to respond to the prompt. So let's go ahead and open up a discussion. So you usually have to respond to the prompt with one, at least one initial post of your own responding directly to the prompt. And then you often have to respond to your peers, the other students within the class as well. So this is often discussions are used within online courses in order to really kind of simulate in-class participation. People often learn best by kind of bouncing ideas off each other and like, oh, I see how you interpreted it. Yeah, that makes sense, and make those connections and, really drive home the lessons of the modules. Like assignments, it's very important to review the instructions and, the prompt very carefully. There may be two different kind of sets of instructions for your initial post in response to the prompt. And then there may be some other instructions for your, your responses to other students. So that is the case here. It looks like that for this course, they want you to create a short video about why your motivation to be at college. Here is the information about what you're supposed to put in the initial post, and this is what you are supposed to do for the prompt. And something to do when you do the initial post, you're going to click start a new thread. Hello. And then I'm going to start typing, my name is Denise, and I loved hearing about Sam's 3 beautiful rescue dogs, which if I have Sam talk about her dogs, we'll be here all day, but they are beautiful and delightful. So here, this is, example. So one thing to look at here is you can insert information. There's a few different ways of including, documents or videos or audio in a post. So there's this, I don't know if it's for every campus. It says insert stuff is this little one here, which I think is hilarious. So I'm going to click insert stuff. Oh, that looks different even than yesterday. So maybe you have a media library, maybe you have a YouTube link, maybe you upload your video onto your personal email or YouTube account or something, or insert link here. You've got that option, or you've got this insert quick link, which you can, upload maybe things from your Google Drive as another option. If you're doing some sort of math class, I say equation or table, I will be clear with you that I have no idea about those things. So if you have questions, if you're in a math class, you go right to your instructor. The other way you can do it here is down here, add attachments. So, you can again click this to upload. Again, this is calling for a video. So you may have, recorded the video on your phone and saved it to your phone, want to upload it here. There's also an option where you can record right from here, record video or record audio. So one thing to make a note of, and then, click post. So to make sure that's very important, so it actually goes through. If you want, you can also highlight this if it's not highlighted for you already to subscribe to the thread. So if anybody, say you make your initial post and then one of the other students makes a comment or response to your post, you can get an alert. I believe up here at the top. I can't see that right here. This little bell at the top will probably give you the alerts. One thing to note is that as you can see here, it doesn't tell you on these instructions, oh no, panic. It doesn't tell me when I'm supposed to post or how many responses I'm supposed to do. Panic? No, we do not panic. We're going to go back to, what do we think? The syllabus. We're going to go back to the syllabus. I'll leave the site. So that's again where it may be in a different part of the course where discussion or assignment expectations may be set differently. So I'm going to go back into course information, and like I noted before, discussion rubric. So this rubric is really kind of outlining the information that the instructor will use to grade your work. And I can see right up here, it says you'll need to compose an initial post of 1 to 2 paragraphs by Friday at 11:59 p.m. of each week. The discussion's required. And you need to reply to at least 2 classmates outside of your initial post by Monday at 11:59 p.m. So that might be a good place where you make note of it. Maybe you have a wall calendar and you make a note every Friday and every Monday of those. Again, talk to your coach if you want some pointers on kind of keeping track of that.
I also just wanted to hop in while you're on this screen, Denise, and reiterate Maureen's point that she put in the chat. When you're looking at this discussion rubric, it's a really great way to ensure that you can align with your professor's expectations and really give them what they want in terms of your assignments. So personally, when I'm doing a discussion post, I'll usually look down the highest level column, whether it's exemplary or outstanding, whatever word they use, to look at exactly what they're looking for in my assignment and align with their expectations.
Yes, Great. Thank you, Maureen and Sam. Can't see the chat, so thank you so much. Okay, then another section we're going to review up here is the Grade Center. So again, I went ahead and clicked the grades button at the top in the mini bar of the top. There's not too much in here yet because I have not submitted anything yet or have been graded. But this is again another place where you can, view feedback, see, how many, how much it's worth. You can see a list of all the different assignments, all the discussions, how much they're worth, and kind of the percentage here. I know you see this pop up at the top, but Sam will talk about that in a little while. There's also this calculator. It says view calculation for grade. I don't know how that works, but it's there. So maybe when you get started with stuff, you can start poking around in there. So that is about it for that's, just so you know, the kind of grade center. So next we're going to focus on, this is one of the last sections for course in quizzes. So I'm going to show you here that your course may not have them. As you can see, this course does not. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hop out of this course. I'm going to use this grid at the top, and I'm going to go into, it's not going to look like a student anymore. So, but do not panic. These are just kind of the modules for, folks to get used to them, but I'm going to show you what a quiz might look like, or, certain parts of a quiz if you do have quizzes in your course. So as you can see here, again, this also at the top looks a little bit different. There's different buttons here. So where my quizzes and course activities, that's another example of something. I think in the last course, it was called course tools. So again, I went ahead and clicked quizzes. Here you can see a whole list of them that are part of, this. I'm going to go ahead and just click into one of them as an example. So, it's important before you begin your quiz to kind of make note of a few things. Instructions for the quiz. Well, here's a description of what the quiz is. Here's your instructions down here. How much time you have to take for the test. Here it's unlimited. And how many times you can take it. So here attempts allowed, unlimited, so forth. So again, something, and then you can click start quiz to go ahead and get started. So in general, with taking quizzes or tests or exams, whatever the language may be that your instructor or campus uses. In general, some good test taking tips are things like, important to have a place to take the test with a reliable internet connection and enough time to take the test. It's certainly, if the test has to be submitted at 11:59 p.m. on a Sunday night, definitely not best practice to start the test at 11:30 p.m. And also ideally, if you can, to have a quiet spot to take the test. Although sometimes, I've had many a student who are like, I'm on, vacation with my family, but I stopped at the McDonald's on the way and I took my test in the McDonald's using their Wi-Fi. And you know what, you got to do what you got to do. So, you just make that work with however it works. If you run into any technical issues while you're taking your test, definitely call the help desk, and also, which Sam will talk about in a minute, and then contact your instructor ASAP also. So the last thing that we are going to take a look at is communicating. So communicating with your instructor within the learning management system of Brightspace, and also you have an option to communicate with other students. So up here at the top next to the grid, you see a icon of an envelope. If you click onto that, you see options for instant message and for email. I am going to click the email button. So this is a way that you can, contact your instructor, within Brightspace itself. If you, click compose, you should be able to kind of find your instructor, I think using the address book. So this is, places to, best practice, definitely to email your instructor, not instant message. Use the email function to reach out to your instructor with questions about assignments or content, Say you are taking a statistics class and there's a concepts about something that you need some extra help on, definitely an appropriate place to reach out. Or if you have a question about an assignment, are seeking some clarification, that's a good way to reach out to your instructor, or to request extensions, or accommodations where appropriate. A lot of times when I'm teaching, I have students who unfortunately, I've had a death in the family or, something like that. Or I do work with a lot of active duty military veteran and military affiliated. And sometimes I have students who are on deployment and are saying, I'm nowhere near an internet for, for a week at a time, no problem, just let me know and we'll kind of work it out. So definitely a very common thing to reach out to your instructor for very different reasons. So there's also the option to do, kind of the instant message. This might be a good way to kind of connect with some of the other, classmates in your classes. Maybe you could use this to set up a study group or something like that. So just an option, not required. You could also email them or, what have you, create a text group or, anything else like that. So
one cool thing I think we noticed, Denise, when we were looking through the instant messages function is that you can actually see which of your classmates are online at any given time, which can or cannot be accurate, but it will at least indicate if they're logged into the system. So you might have a better way of connecting with someone who's active at that moment if you want to just ask a quick question to your classmate.
Great. Thank you, Sam, for pointing that out. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. That about kind of covers the basics, and then I'm going to pass it off to Sam to share some just additional helpful information.
Awesome. Well, that was a lot of great information. Thank you, Denise, so much for the thorough walkthrough. So far, we have really emphasized the importance of keeping up on your coursework as an online student, which is why we're walking through Brightspace in the first place. You really should plan to use your computer for your course readings, resources, creating a discussion post, and submitting test quizzes and assignments. Because as you've seen, it's a little bit complicated. It's a little bit lengthy, especially if you're trying to read something. It's usually best to do that through your computer. When you're not at your computer, though, you can access the Brightspace Pulse app to check course information on the go. You can download the app for free and log in with your campus credentials. And here you can double check your due dates, view your grades, access the course calendar, and just essentially be in control of your progress through the course. As you check on your class progress, you might end up having a question about an assignment, or you might want to even work on improving your grades for the rest of the semester. So I just wanted to take a look next at a few online resources that can help with that. So throughout your studies, your success coach, you've got a lot of success coaches on this call right now, by the way. Your success coach is a great person to ask for help in finding or accessing online resources that are actually included in your tuition and fees. You can think of your coach as a professional connection whose number one goal is to empower you to grow and succeed as a student. When you first meet or speak with your coach, inform them of which times and modes of communication work best for you and your schedule. If you prefer phone over email, for example, let them know. If you love personal connection, maybe a video call is a better mode of meeting. I do just want to share a helpful reminder that applies to anyone you meet for support. If you set up a scheduled appointment and then you can't make it for any reason, just go ahead and cancel the appointment so that we can be available to your other peers. Make sure then to set up a different appointment time or email your coach to make sure you have the answers you're looking for. We won't be upset if you cancel an appointment, and we still just want to make sure that you're supported. Throughout your studies, you can usually expect your success coach to check in with you and your classmates about once per week to make sure everything's going well. Don't be afraid to reach out to us in the meantime, though. We can always give you tips on how to work through any problems you might run into as an online student. Now, I've seen a lot of reference to the help desk so far and just wanted to show you an example of their webpage. If you run into any difficulty accessing or utilizing Brightspace, you can always reach out to them, our SUNY Online Help Desk team. They're very patient and kind and knowledgeable. As you can see on the screen here, their general contact information is right here. The help desk really offers a huge range of hours. You can see that on some days they're open from 7 until midnight. So really, we try to meet you where you're at. And there's also a variety of ways that you can get in touch with them, which includes live chat, phone, or submitting like an online support ticket. That goes through email, by the way. I'll just pause here for a quick moment so you can write down the website or the phone number, although I know it's been shared in the chat a couple times, so you can also just copy and paste. Next up, just wanted to touch on some academic supports before we end our session. If you've attended our previous readiness sessions, you probably heard us talk a ton about tutoring. Tutoring is a huge part of every student's journey, and it's fully available to you while you're studying online. Your tutoring resources are completely provided through your campus, but that doesn't mean that you have to go in person to use them. It's definitely a good idea to start by reaching out to your professor if you have any questions about course material, and they're usually a good resource to begin with. Then though, for more specialized assistance, professional online tutoring options range from live video calls to live chats and email correspondence to answer your questions. The professional tutoring options are still included in your tuition and fees, so please don't hesitate to take advantage of it. Another couple thoughts here. Don't forget that if you've previously had an IEP, you might be eligible for similar accommodations in your online courses. If you think you might be eligible, reach out to your coach for more information about getting connected with your campus's accessibility office. Other helpful offices on campus and online accessible include the student accounts or the bursar's office for questions about your bill, the registrar, questions about your courses. But of course, you want to go to your coach or your advisor first, the financial aid office, and our military and veteran services. To learn more about the specific supports available to you and where to turn with a question, check out your campus website or connect with your success coach as always. Before we officially wrap up, I'm just going to pause on this slide for a moment. Just take a second to write down 2 or 3 resources that you would most like to use or learn more about. Next time you're meeting with your coach, whether it's on the phone, through a video call, or even through email, feel free to ask them any questions about getting started with these resources. So we have covered a lot of information today, and I really thank you all for staying with us. In summary, plan to log into Brightspace during preview week, which is the week leading up to the first day of class. Get in the habit of logging in almost every day and use the Pulse mobile app to stay on top of deadlines and your course progress if that works for you. When you have a question, take advantage of your online resources. We are all here to help you meet your goals. Thanks again for joining us today. I really hope this information is helpful to you as you approach your first semester with SUNY Online. We had a lot of great questions today, and I feel like we're getting somewhere with our comfort level with the Brightspace system. If you would like to further brush up on your Brightspace basics, we put a couple helpful links in the chat. One goes to some tutorial videos, and then the other is actually just kind of a walkthrough about how to get started. If you do have any other questions at this time, we have just a couple minutes remaining. Please feel free to type in the chat more or unmute your microphone to go ahead and ask.